The Saturn moon matrix is a theory suggesting that the moon is being used to project frequencies to Earth, frequencies that create a false reality, a manipulated matrix overlay designed to trap human consciousness in a cycle of limitation, fear, and reincarnation. Saturn, an ancient symbol of control, authority, and restriction, plays the role of the main server, broadcasting control frequencies. The moon, possibly an artificial or hollow object, acts as a satellite dish, amplifying and retransmitting Saturn's frequencies down to Earth. The result? Humanity perceives a false light, a distorted version of reality, a prison of mind and spirit. In ancient mythologies, Saturn was often associated with the Old King, the Lord of Time, and death. In Roman mythology, Saturn devoured his children, a symbol of time consuming all things. In the Hebrew Bible, there are traces of Saturn worship hidden in the worship of Moloch or Remphan. See Acts 7:43. You have taken up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan. In Gnostic writings, the archons, rulers, are described as false creators who trap souls in the material world. Saturn is closely tied to the chief archon, Yaldabaoth, or the demiurge, the blind god who thinks he is the ultimate authority. Some scholars and channelers propose that the moon was artificially placed in Earth's orbit by the same beings that created the matrix, perhaps to solidify control over Earth's frequency field. Evidence? The moon is the exact perfect size to cause solar eclipses, something astronomers say is incredibly rare. NASA admits the moon rings like a bell when struck, hinting that it might be hollow or at least very different from natural satellites. Amos 5:26 says, "But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and Kayun, your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves." What is happening here? Amos is rebuking Israel for idolatry, not just random idolatry, but very specifically astrotheological worship, worshiping heavenly bodies like Saturn. Moloch, false god of sacrifice, especially child sacrifice. Kayun, another name for Saturn. In the Septuagint, the Greek Old Testament, Kayun is translated as Rephan or Remphan, which appears again in Acts 7:43 when Stephen accuses the religious leaders of continuing this same false worship. Kayun is linked to the ancient Sumerian and Babylonian name for Saturn. The star of your god refers to the six-pointed star hexagram, a very ancient Saturnian symbol. This is extremely controversial because that same star is, today, associated with Israel's flag, the Star of David, but in ancient times it was associated with Saturn worship. So, in Amos 5:26, God is accusing Israel of abandoning him in favor of worshiping Saturn, carrying idols, setting up tabernacles dedicating to Saturn Moloch worship. Saturn worship was already happening in biblical times. It's not new. The same planetary god, Kayun, Remphan, Saturn, was being secretly worshipped alongside the formal religion of Yahweh. This ancient allegiance to Saturn, control, death, time, sacrifice, sets up the spiritual framework for the Saturn moon matrix thousands of years later. False light, death, rebirth, recycling, the false reincarnation trap, and control over the human mind. In short, Amos 5:26 notes humanity was already entrapped by the Saturn control system long before the time of Christ. Many people misinterpret Deuteronomy 4:19 with its warning, "Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, and the moon, and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them," warning against astrotheological worship, specifically planets and stars. This is different from our study of astrology. This was a reference to the worship of Saturn. Guidance is different from worship. Deuteronomy 4:19 is a reference to the Saturn moon matrix. Ephesians 2:2, the prince of the power of the air. Paul speaks of a spirit who manipulates humanity through the air, a perfect description of broadcast frequency control. The beast with 7 heads, Revelation 13. Some esoteric interpretations say that the 7 heads represent 7 major planetary rulers, with Saturn, the 7th and outermost classical planet, at the top, the king of the false system. The false light trap. In 2 Corinthians 11:14, Paul warns, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." Saturn moon frequencies are a false light projection, presenting an illusion of enlightenment while actually binding souls to lower densities. Gnostics taught that the material world was a trap created by lesser beings, archons, who want to keep souls ignorant of their divine origin. Saturn symbolizes law, limitation, control, and judgment, the exact forces the Gnostics were trying to escape. The moon, in many Gnostic traditions, was viewed as a realm of illusion and entrapping spirits. Souls were said to ascend after death, but first had to pass through the planetary spheres, including Saturn, in answer to the gatekeepers, archons, before reaching true freedom. The false reincarnation cycle, recycling of souls, is linked to the manipulation by these planetary rulers, particularly through the moon's influence. How does the Saturn moon matrix affect us today? Constant distraction. We live under artificial cycles, time, deadlines, stress, and the moon constantly affects our emotional bodies, hence why emergency rooms fill up during full moons. Fear programming. Saturn's frequency instills fear, obedience, and the worship of external authority, governments, false religion, experts. Spiritual amnesia. The control grid keeps people asleep, forgetting their divine origin. False reincarnation cycle. Instead of ascending beyond the physical realms, souls are often tricked back into reincarnation through the false light at death. How to escape the Saturn moon matrix. Awareness is the first step. Realize that the external world is heavily manipulated through frequency, inner connection to the true source, direct communication with the divine light beyond the false light projections. Gnostic, Gnosis equals direct knowing. Deactivate subconscious programs. Meditate deeply, beyond surface thoughts, to break Saturnian programming, limitation, guilt, shame. Deactivate moon programming. Spend time under the stars instead of the full moon when possible. Ground yourself with Earth directly. Barefoot grounding disconnects some electromagnetic influence. Practice neutral point consciousness. Neutralizing fear and judgment through heart-centered living breaks Saturn's vibrational control. Claim sovereignty. Declare spiritual sovereignty aloud. Example affirmation. I am a sovereign being of divine light. No frequency, ruler, or entity may claim authority over my soul. I choose to ascend beyond the illusions of this world. Upon death, avoid being drawn into any external light beckoning you. Center yourself, call to your higher self and source directly. Bypass the recycling stations and ascend straight through. It's time for the great liberation. The Saturn moon matrix has ruled over humanity for millennia, but no prison is eternal. The key to freedom has always been hidden within you. Not in the sky, not in a temple, but in your very soul. Christ taught it. The Gnostics revealed it. And now, it's time for you to remember it.